Hey y'all, how y'all doing today? My name is Monique Turner. I am your purpose expert with Never Personal, Always Purpose. All right, so I'm super excited to announce this new movement. I've been going back and forth in my head. What direction am I going to take when it comes to allowing my gift to be introduced to the world and make an impact? And most importantly, inspire others to be able to live the life that God created them to live and start walking in their purpose instead of just walking. And so I had to find a lane and stick to it. And so for quite some time, I've been in multiple lanes. I've been like zigzagging out of lanes like a NASCAR driver. It's time for me to slow down like an old school driver. And so we about to make it pop. Y'all, let me tell y'all what pop is. Purpose over prison. And so let me tell y'all, I had been going back and forth with my cell phone. First it was prison and purpose. And do I want to talk about prison? Do I want to talk only about purpose? Who am I going to try to help? These are the different things that I've been battling with in my mind. I'm gifted at helping people solve problems and get unstuck and helping people bridge the gap in the relationships that they may have with their spouse, with their kids, with their friends, co-worker, and all those things. So it was like, Monique, how do you bring all that together and make it pop? Well, I figured it out with the purpose over prison movement, because that's everything that I represent. That's exactly how I got to where I am now, is because I made a decision to say I quit. I choose purpose over prison. And so it's not just a tagline. It's not just a name that I came up with. This is my actual life. This is what I actually chose. And once I made this decision, then my life began to change. Then I began to see the seeds that I was planting. I began to see the harvest. I began to see things just manifest in my life that was just a vision, that was only a dream, that was only a thought. It's so powerful. And so I just want to share all of that with y'all, and I want y'all to have a clear understanding of where the purpose over prison came from, and so you don't think it's just something that I just magically came up with. Oh no, this is life. I know that it can be a part of so many other people's life that are feeling stuck, that are feeling unworthy, that they're not good enough, that you can't do it, that your past defines you, that just because you have a prison number that you can't start a business, you can't become the CEO, you can't get that high paying job, you can't work in corporate. You can do all of those things. Don't allow the mind to trick you, because that's what the enemy wants to do. He tricks us in our mind. So no more of that. We will win that battle, and we understand that there is purpose over prison, and we choose purpose. Like I had to do. I chose purpose. I made a decision, y'all. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. I had to make a decision, y'all. Once I came home from serving 5 years in federal prison, I had to self-surrender at 25 years old. My son was 7 years old at the time when I self-surrendered. I had just previously lost both of my parents a year and a half prior to self-surrendering. So my life was a wreck. I was a wreck all over the place. Just felt lost and lonely, didn't have nobody, felt like nobody loved me. Oh boy, when I tell you my mind was in a battle, oh yeah, the enemy was trying to trick me all the way up. But the devil is a lie. And so from there, after I'm getting all tricked up, God is trying to come in. He's trying to show me that he is with me. He is there. There is another way. But for some odd reason, I was allowing the enemy to stay in my mind, and I wasn't trusting God. So when I came home from federal prison, what did I do? I still broke the law, because guess what? I felt like I'm not working for $13 an hour. That's not going to happen. Not me. I'm not working for what kids make. I'm used to making all this money and this and that, right? My pride got in the way. Oh yeah, that's a whole nother topic that we can have when we allow our pride to get in the way. So that's what happened, is I was letting my pride get the best of me. What did that give me? I ended up doing other things that I knew that I can do to get money. Not the same thing that led me into prison to serve those 5 years, but I'm a hustler. There's so many other ways to make money. So that's what I did. Instead of going the legal route, I went the illegal route to make some more money. And where did that land me? That landed me right back where I started at. Not in prison, but it landed me in the halfway house serving a violation. Then I ended up back in the halfway house serving another violation. When I decided to say, That's it. I quit because I had to make a decision. God has showed me my purpose while I was in the halfway house serving one of those violations. And when he showed me my purpose was to start a nonprofit organization in 2010, I believed that to be my purpose. And I began to work on it and make the phone calls I needed to make and make the connections that I needed to make. But the thing was, my mind was still in the battle. I was allowing the enemy to continue to trick me up because every time I got closer, then something would happen that would back me up. And so instead of me believing and trusting in the purpose, I began to trust other people, like my probation officer who told me I couldn't have a nonprofit organization because of my record, or because of certain family members or certain friends that was doubting me because it wasn't possible, or because of my own mind because I didn't have the money or I didn't have the college degree. Right? There are so many different factors that was playing a role in keeping me from walking in my purpose that it just didn't make no sense, because fear can get the best of us. People can get the best of us. No, we can't keep allowing that. We have to say purpose over prison. Say prison, that don't just mean the prison behind the walls. That also means the prison in your mind. We allow ourselves to be in prison in our own mind. We have to release that. Purpose over prison, y'all. Let's go. I'm taking you through this journey because I want you to see that it doesn't happen overnight. It is a process. It's not just overnight. You just automatically have all this faith and belief in God and all that fear just goes away and you're just automatically walking in your purpose and then nothing bad happens. No, things are going to happen. People are going to still bring you drama. You're going to have some type of trauma that you're going to go through. You're going to have some good days and some bad days, but you got to know that the purpose is better than being in prison, in your mind or in actual prison. All right, so y'all, let's stay with me. Well, finally, I get a break. And this is when I decided to say, I quit. I'm choosing the purpose over the prison. I get a phone call from my son's school. He's doing terrible in school. He's failing. And this is where I want y'all to see the power of God. God is so amazing. Even when we're not choosing him, he's choosing us. See, because he wants us to choose him. So he's giving us every opportunity. He's putting us through every test and every lesson. But we so blind and caught up in our own mind, allowing the enemy to trick us up that we don't even see it. So in the midst of me getting this phone call about my son not doing so good in school and them wanting to put him in this program that they think that he could do better in, I'm like, what? It should be mandatory. Why are you asking me this? This should just be a given that he has to be in this program. So the principal's like, well, when can we meet? So I'm like, I'll be down there tomorrow. We can meet tomorrow. What? So I have a meeting set up, and then God gives me another vision. God is amazing. You have to believe in them visions that you are getting. Don't let the enemy trick you up and talk you out of doing what God has already visioned you to do, right? So God gives me this vision. Monique, take all this paperwork with you. Take everything that you have, because you've already been working on doing workshops with youth, because you've been doing them at the YGC with your mentor, DB. So I appreciate him for blessing me, allowing me to come see what it was like and setting the foundation for me to know exactly what I wanted to do with the workshops and working with youth and within my nonprofit organization. Shout outs to my mentor, DB Bedford, Mr. I Never Worry. But listen, you guys, so since I had all this material and everything already, now, once I went to the school, principal didn't want to meet with me. He ended up sending me over to the dean. That was cool. So I'm meeting with the dean and the gentleman that runs a program there, and we talking about it and talking about my son. So now I have all this stuff. I'm like, well, hey, how do you get your program in a school? Because I have X, Y, and Z, and I do X, Y, and Z, and I'm telling them about what I do and what should be mandatory and what they need in the school for these kids. And so the dean is loving everything that I'm saying. He's like, wow, the principal needs to talk to you. So he calls the principal over. Principal comes on over. Y'all getting excited? Because I'm excited telling the story. And so when he comes over, I'm telling him everything about, what I have and all that. And he was just like, wow, that's amazing. So when can you start? I was like, when can I start? I can start tomorrow. He was like, well, it's a process. You have to go through a fingerprint process. And it was just for volunteer. It wasn't starting for a job. And so I was so excited, y'all, to be able to get this opportunity to volunteer in the school, to be able to run my program. So here comes the fear, because now I'm a little fearful that am I going to be able to get this opportunity? Because now what happened is now I'm getting fingerprinted, and I know I'm still on federal probation and state probation because I came home doing the wrong thing. And now here it is. I have this opportunity. What is going to happen? Well, let me tell y'all, God is so good. I was honest. I was very transparent about what was going on with me and my situation. And so in that moment, the principal still allowed me to be in the schools. So I'm already running my program and everything. And it was going amazing. So once those fingerprints came back, AD was like, no, no, no. We're not going to be able to have her in these schools, not with this record. But guess what? Because I was doing an amazing job and they loved everything I was doing with the youth and the impact that I was having, they allowed me to still stay in the schools. I just had to be in an open space with other credentialed teachers. And so I just wasn't alone with the students. Perfect. I was able to run my workshops in the library. From that moment right there, that's when I got my first break. And from there, I was able to grow our organization. And now we are in multiple schools, multiple districts, have served over 20,000 students. It's so amazing what God will do. It's so amazing what you can do if you just have trust and faith and belief in you and decide to say yes to you and no to everything else that is stopping you. All right, y'all. So do y'all see? And so from that moment on, it was like, yes, let's make it pop. I choose purpose over prison. I quit. I'm not doing anything illegal. So I refuse to do anything that will allow me to be in prison in my mind or actually in prison. Not gonna do it. I'm doing everything in my power now to remove everything that was holding me back. So from that moment on, I started doing what needed to be done to get my record expunged, to get off probation early and all that. And that's a whole nother video. But guess what? Pop! Yes, purpose over prison made it happen. I was able to terminate my probation early, go into the courts and file a motion, and I was granted access, terminated my probation early, my state probation, and then submitted the paperwork to get my record expunged, and I was granted access to that. I'm telling you how amazing God is when you decide to choose purpose over prison. That's what I did. There's so many more stories and so many tips and tools and everything that I am going to give you from here on out. I just wanted to give you a clear vision on why I choose purpose over prison, on why this purpose over prison is now fit to turn into a huge movement for people all around the world to decide to say, I choose to make it pop. Purpose over prison any day. All right, y'all. My name is Monique Turner. I am your purpose expert with never personal, always purpose.